Everyone, good morning. Today it's Wednesday, May 21st, 2020, and today class is about clever writing. You guys are going to learn about the interesting topic in clever writing. Okay, we're going to talk about life experiences that you could probably have had, like changing to a new city, changing from school, having a new little brother, okay? Situations that change your life or maybe that change um, the way you used to live. Okay, now learning log pages that we're going to work with today are page 32, 33, and page 34. All we're going to do is 3 pages today. um, then we're going to see the Great Canyon because it is mentioned in one of the readings that we have here for the subject. And I think it's really interesting to watch the video about the Great Canyon. It's going to tell you a lot about it, okay? The story, the history that it has, okay? And where it is located. Now, let's begin let's start by doing page 32. And we're going to read activity number 1, which says, read the following text. Think about the time you moved from one home to another. Maybe you have changed from your grandparents' house to your house, or maybe you have changed from your house in another state in Mexico to Veracruz. Okay, so those are the possible um, that I can really think of right now, the possible situations. Okay, so after you guys finish reading, you are going to complete activity number 2. How are you going to complete it? With the information that you have on top. First, I'm going to give you guys 5 minutes to complete this information. After you finish reading and answering, I'm going to go over with you with activity number 2 and the definitions for the keywords that we have in this page. So let's take 10 minutes for you guys to complete it. Alright guys, now it's time to check and see the vocabulary words and see how you guys did. Alright, so first we're going to check the word bottom. What is bottom? The lowest point of or part of something. For example, if I have a glass of water, okay, if I have a glass of water, excuse my presentation, and here it's going to be the top and here it's going to be the bottom, okay? So the bottom is the lowest point or part of something, okay? Then we got the Great Canyon. Right, the Great Canyon is a river valley in Colorado, California. And as you guys can see there in the picture, that is one part of the most beautiful canyon, which is the Grand Canyon, okay? And we're going to learn a little bit more about it in the video. Now, it has a mule. What is a mule? Okay, according to the definition, the mule is the offspring of a male donkey and a female horse. Okay, the offspring, the baby that came out, okay, of the female horse with a monkey is a mule. Alright, now it's time to check and see. Read the following text. Think about a time you moved from one home to another. Have you ever changed? Have you ever moved? Maybe no, maybe yes. Alright, let's read moving across the country. Moving across the country is a lot of work. After we packed all of our belongings, the movers loaded them in their truck and drove to our new home. My parents and I would follow it in our car. We had a map out the roads to take in places to go along the way. We left the day after I finished the school year. I said goodbye to my friends and then got into the car. It was really crowded in the car because we had lots of boxes with us. The first night was fun because we stayed in a hotel. It even had a swimming pool. My favorite part of the trip was when we saw the Grand Canyon. The Grand Canyon is in Arizona. It is amazing and beautiful. If you want to write down the bottom of it on a mule. I wanted to try it, but we still had a long way to go. My mom said we could plan to do it on our next trip. After 5 days of traveling in the car, I was ready for the trip to end. I like staying in comfortable hotels and seeing all the interesting parts of America. But sometimes it seems as if we were never going to get to our destination. When we finally got to our new house, the truck with all of our things had not arrived yet. So the first night we slept on the floor. I wished I was back in a hotel. Our things arrived the next day, and everything was good after that. After reading the text, answer the following questions in activity number 2. So after reading this information about moving across the country, activity 2, number 1 question says, what is the story about? Is it about a person lost in the city? Is it about a person moving to another city? What is the story really talking about? Yes, very good. It is talking about a person moving to another city. So I'm just going to write it down. A person, what is the story about? A person moving to another city. Yes. Okay, does the author write about the character or about himself? Now, how are we going to find this out? First, we have to take a look at the reading, and after we take a look at it, look at the subjects that he's using. For example, he's talking about we, He's talking about I, and once again he uses I, okay? My, which is a possessive, and I'm using I once again. So all of these subjects are telling me, or pronouns are telling me that the person is talking about himself. So I'm going to write here, himself. He's talking about himself. All right, do you think this story actually happened? Why or why not? What do you guys think? Do you think this is something real? I would like to say it's something real because he's talking about his experience. He's sharing with you guys real information that he passed through the canyon, to the Great Canyon, okay, in Colorado. So, what do you think it is? Do you think it's real or not? Do you think it happened? So, in my opinion, yes, because is a real experience. A real experience, okay? So probably happened, or that depends on you. If you say, no, Missy Shell, I don't think that really happened, all right, that's perfectly fine. This is just an example for you guys to guide yourselves, okay, through these exercises. Now, if you have something different, don't worry. This is not right or wrong. Activity number 3 is not right or wrong. You decide, okay?
Daunting in scale,
okay, now
no American had yet managed to journey into its depths.
It has
a place now known as the Grand Canyon.
It's interesting to see where it is and how amazing it looks.
Today, visitors come to its rim to be thrilled and unnerved. But when early European travelers first stood here in scale, no American had yet managed to journey into its depths. A place now known as the Grand Canyon. Today, visitors come to its rim to be thrilled and unnerved. But when early European travelers first stood here, they simply could not comprehend the canyon's enormous scale. While scientists still don't know exactly how the canyon was created, they do know that its story stretches back more than 1.5 billion years, thanks to colorful layers of rock that are now exposed in the canyon's walls. The oldest of these is a black rock known as Vishnu Schist. It was created from deposits of volcanic ash, mud, and sand that washed down from ancient mountains. In the hundreds of millions of years that followed, oceans, deserts, and swamps came and went across this part of Arizona, leaving behind more layers of sedimentary rock, so many that they created a giant plateau. Just 250 million years ago, the youngest layer in the canyon's walls was laid down. It's a light-colored stone known as Kaibab limestone. It was only after these deep and colorful rock layers were formed that the Colorado River started carving a giant canyon through the plateau's floor. Feeding it were thousands of tributaries that eroded the landscape even more and helped expose the colorful layers below to create this giant chasm, which reaches, in places, 18 miles from rim to rim. It's a process of erosion that continues. A process that's created some of the canyon's greatest landmarks. From towering rock pinnacles near Temple Butte to deep geological scars known as the Hindu Amphitheater, and soaring above, the Tower of Ra, which reaches, in places, 18 miles from rim to rim. It's a process of erosion that continues. A process that's created some of the canyon's greatest landmarks. From towering rock pinnacles near Temple Butte to deep geological scars known as the Hindu Amphitheater, and soaring above, The Tower of
and
Ra,
sand. Okay, so all of these made a mixture
which reaches in
to
places
make these beautiful
18 miles
big,
from rim to rim.
rocks. Okay, now this is a very old place.
It's a process of
thousands
erosion
and
that
thousands
continues.
of years. It's a beautiful
A process
place too,
that's created
that I
some of the
really
canyon's
think,
greatest
and I would
landmarks.
like to invite you guys to visit
From
one day
towering
with
rock
your
pinnacles
family
near Temple
if you
Butte
can. It has
to
a
deep
beautiful
geological
view
scars
for
known
pictures
as the Hindu
and
Amphitheater.
lots of interesting
And soaring above,
information
the Tower
that
of
a
Ra,
guide can actually give you while you are touristing
which reaches
at
in
this
places
beautiful
18
place.
miles
So I
from
really
rim
hope
to
that
rim.
one day you get to visit the Grand Canyon. And,
It's a process of erosion
I
that
hope
continues.
that you get there, and if you get there,
A process
show me your pictures.
that's created some of the canyon.
Okay, my beautiful third graders, now it's time to do activity number 3 and 4. But before that, we're going to read the instructions in activity number 3. It says, read the words to their meanings. We have the meanings on the right, the meanings on the left, and on the right we have the words. The words are event, experience, interest, and narrative. Okay, now after reading this, we're going to read the pink information, or kind of orangey there. It says, a narrative is a piece of writing that tells a story. It can be a story about a personal experience to write a personal narrative. Think of experiences in your life that you will always remember, such as winning a prize, welcoming a baby, brother or sister, or moving to another country. List events in the order that they happened. Remember to use past tense. Describe how you feel as the events were taking place. So now you guys are going to talk about any experience that you think was very important in your life. And for this activity, as they mentioned, we're going to use what? We're going to use past tense. Remember, we need to get familiar with the past tense verbs. If we do not get familiar with the past tense verbs, we're not going to be able to write information about ourselves. So first, let's go over these words that I have here, which are verbs. Okay, so this is my list of verbs in past. Okay, so verbs past, this is in past, sorry, past tense verbs. Okay, so write, what is the past of write? Wrote. Very good. Have, what is the past tense of have? Had. Like, I have 2 sisters, and when I was 1 year old, I had 1 sister. Okay, so I'm talking about present and past. And the same for this one. Today I write 7 pages. Yesterday I wrote 4 pages. Okay, so it's talking about the past and the present as well. The same for this word here. It says come and came. Come and came. So today, okay, I come to school every day. Yesterday I came to school wearing my uniform. Okay, so you see the difference. Came is the past, wrote is the past, had is the past. Okay, now it's time for take and took. Today I take my backpack to school. Okay, yesterday I took my backpack to school. Okay, so the past tense here is took. The same for do and did. Okay, I do my homework every day. Yesterday I did my homework. The past tense is did. Leave and left. Today, or I leave my notebook in the bookshelf every day. Yesterday I left my notebook in the bookshelf. Sit and sat. Yesterday I sat next to Nicholas. Today I sit, or every day I sit next to Nicholas. spent and spent. I spent lots of money in my lunch every day. Yesterday I spent 50 pesos in my lunch. So all the ones that I have circled are the past tense verbs, okay? All of those are past tense verbs. All right, now, so remember, to write a personal narrative, we must use past tense verbs. Now, take the tips for writing a personal narrative. The tips are: describe when and where the experience took place. If it took place in 2006, if it took place in 2020, okay, you describe it. Now it says where. If it took place in Veracruz, if it took place in the United States, where was that specific experience? Okay, so I'm going to put 1991 as an example for when, and where, Veracruz. Okay, describe who was involved, and list what happened in order. Who was involved during this story? Was it your mom involved? Was it your dad involved? Was it me involved? So you guys are going to describe who was involved during the story, or was it only you? Make it more interesting by including unexpected, funny, or scary details. Something that was shocking for you, maybe, okay? Or something really funny. Maybe you trip, okay? Something funny that happened to you in your experience. Number 4 says, work with a classmate. Take turns talking about one important event in your life. Of course, as I mentioned before, there is no classmate, so you're only going to work yourself through this, okay? You're going to talk about an important event in your life. Write the characteristics and details about your classmate or about your experience. Share what you learned in class. What is the event? Okay, so you're going to write here. I'm going to give you guys my example. The event, okay, when I had my baby. So I had my baby. Or I'm just going to write baby born. It's shorter and faster to understand, correct? So, baby born. Okay, so that was my event. Now, you guys have to think of your event. Maybe your brother was born, your sister was born, something that really changed your life in somehow or impact you. When and where? Okay, when did this happen? This happened in 2015. And where? It happened in Veracruz. My baby was born in Veracruz. Okay, so this is an example. Okay, maybe for you guys, maybe it was in 2009. Okay, whatever the date was, you guys are going to write it down. The same for the place. If it was in the United States, if it was in Veracruz, if it was in Spain, whatever the situation is, remember, I'm only giving you guys a previous example. Who was involved? Mrs. Shell and her son. Only 2 people involved. Events that happen, and there you're going to give details about events that happened to you during that specific experience. Don't forget to give details and make it more interesting, including unexpected, funny, or scary details, all right? So don't forget that you need to use past tense here to talk about your events.